Paul Waller back here with you with President of Christian Sports Medicine Alliance for another episode of Medicine with a Mission, Faith, Family, and the Profession, Zoomcast. And again, we are highlighting every single day of the month of March a Christian athletic trainer from around the country as we celebrate National Athletic Training Month. We are now on episode 29 overall for the entire Zoomcast platform. This will be should be day 24 in National Athletic Training Month. Today's guest, longtime friend, Jeff Russell. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing great. Thank you, Paul. Good to be with you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Y'all noticed in the background his Zoom background. That's pretty impressive. I mean, because he's going to tell you where he's from. And Jeff, where are you from? Where you live? What kind of setting are you in? Kind of explain the background there and kind of take it from there.
Yeah, you bet, Paul. Thank you. So what you see in the background are beautiful Japanese cherry blossoms, and they are just starting to come out now. This is not a current picture, but this is what it'll look like in a week or two. The trees are along the river that goes next to Ohio University, which is where I work. So I'm in Athens, Ohio, Southeast Ohio, very rural area, and quite enjoyable, right? Very peaceful and whatnot, and beautiful area. And so the cherry blossoms come out every spring, and they are a great attraction for this part of Ohio, and they're absolutely beautiful. So just God's creation at work, and it's a joy to be here and just to have the opportunity to be around everything that's going on in Southeast Ohio. And at the university, we are working on not only the athletic training program itself, that's my faculty position at the Division of Athletic Training, but also my field of endeavor is performing arts medicine. So within athletic training, my work is with performing artists, which is pretty exciting, pretty interesting. I got into that back in 2001, 2002, when I was at Belhaven University in Mississippi on the faculty there. And since I've had a very interesting road to get to where I'm at, but I started our performing arts medicine clinic here, which is called the SHAPE Clinic, SHAPE standing for Science and Health and Artistic Performance. But it's a clinic that sees only performing artists. That's all we really do. And I have a research program as well that I lead an international research group where we focus on injuries and concussions as well, looking primarily at the populations of stunt performers in film and television, and university dance team dancers, and then commercial dancers. So all three of those very interesting groups of performing artists. And really the thing that binds them all together is what drives me as not just an athletic trainer, but as a Christian, to have compassion for the marginalized and the ones that are least served. And certainly performing artists in the healthcare profession are not well served at all. And so just a way for me to try to lift them up and add value to them. So we have our clinic, we have our research program, and going really well, and just as I said, an enjoyable place to be here in Southeast Ohio.
And you actually, I mean, because we follow each other on Facebook, and I see all especially during the football season, you travel with your band.
Oh yes, yeah. So, we don't go anywhere that the band doesn't go, or I should say, the band doesn't go anywhere without us. Our band director is absolutely committed to having us as athletic trainers with the band, and so we're with them every single day at practice. We see them in clinic, and then we travel with them. Fun fact is that I marched in the 2017 Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving in New York City. So that was pretty cool. But that's where our band was marching, and we marched with them, and we're there taking care of them along the route. And it's just a fantastic opportunity to be able to travel with one of the best bands in the United States, and they do a fantastic job. And it's just an honor. I mean, everything we do with any high level performing artists like that, I just consider it to be an honor to work with them, because they really are appreciative for what we do. They have a need for the services athletic trainers can provide. So it's quite a great match. We get on with them really, really well. They get on with us really, really well. And so it's very much a mutually beneficial relationship.
So what kind of, a lot of people may not realize the the injuries can happen actually in band. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
what do you see? What's some of the common issues that you see within the band program?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the environment and where we're at. If we're on a astroturf field or an artificial grass field, we don't normally see ankle sprains that often. If we're on a natural field or in a parade, then we might see ankle sprains. We had a talus fracture one time in a parade because where the asphalt went down to the concrete gutter, there was an edge there, and so we had a tuba player that went over on the side of his ankle and fractured his talus. So we can see things like that a lot. Some traumatic injuries and then some overuse injuries. But when you're marching, and the type of marching that we do, the style of marching that we do, and you're combining that with trying to keep airflow going through an instrument, and you're trying to pay attention to whether you're in a straight line or you're in the right position compared to other people around you, all that makes for a very taxing environment. So there's a lot going on. A lot of information has to be processed by these guys. And so, they'll perhaps fall, and and some of the work that they do is also dance. So we have choreography in some of our pieces. So they'll play and then they'll set down their instruments and then they'll dance, and it's very, very active. And so there's muscle strains. We have some low back things. It just depends on the postural ability of a given performer. In a tuba player, you obviously have a lot more weight that you're having to carry. You've got this big sousaphone that's wrapped around you, and you're trying to keep that moving forward. And while they're marching in a parade, they're bending over and standing back up and spinning around. And I mean, it's just so active. And so there's a lot of opportunity for muscular strains. We have had some concussions. My performing arts medicine tip of the week is to don't stand near the sousaphones, because right in the head. Or if you're a trombone player and they turn the wrong way, they might take out a couple people on the swing with their slide, that kind of stuff that we see. So that happens from time to time as well. But I think one of the most difficult things we've had is when it's been hot weather. So when we are traveling, we were at a game at the University of Tennessee a few years back, and the temperature was so hot, and just trying to keep fluid in these guys, and they're wearing dark, heavy uniforms, and so they're covered up, and it's just tough. I mean, you can imagine, just even if you're not playing an instrument, you're trying to keep this airflow going through the instruments, and you've got sun beating down on you all the time, and you're covered up almost your entire body except for your head. It's very taxing. And so we've had a number of heat illness issues that we've had to deal with, not just at that game, but at some other games. It's just part and parcel of being outside in a hot environment when it's football season,
Right.
And so, that's another common thing that we deal with, are the heat problems.
And alongside with you being at Ohio University, you started, I don't know how many years ago it was. I mean, I think I started receiving your devotionals and your newsletters and information about the Cardia Foundation. How did that come about, and how have you seen your faith intersect with the profession at Ohio University and even at Belhaven? How have you seen your Christianity and your faith in Christ come together and work through your profession?
Yeah, that's a great question, Paul. Thank you. The ministry, the Cardia Foundation, so Kardia, the Cardia Foundation started in 1997. It's been a good while now. Next year it'll be 25 years. It's almost impossible to think of for me. The devotionals that we write, the e-cardiograms that you referenced, those started in 2007. So we're coming up on 15 years of those. So basically, the ministry is designed to be an encouragement to the field of healthcare, because, as you know, healthcare is give all the time, and there's very little receiving. And so, we have things on our website, for example, some gratitude cards, healthcare gratitude cards that people can download and then send to healthcare workers. There's a specific one for COVID-19 circumstances that people can just download and send them out. So we have them right now in English and Arabic. And as soon as we finish our website design here pretty soon, we'll have all different languages available again for those to give people something that they can send to colleagues, to acquaintances, to people that they know, into their healthcare systems. We have some of those in a printed format that people can use. So in this case, it's about giving gratitude, right, to the healthcare professionals, saying thank you for what you do, thank you for serving. And as I say that, I want to make sure that to your audience that I say thank you. Say thank you to you, Paul, as a healthcare provider, and also to everybody else watching. Thank you. You have huge value. I mean, huge value. Value to God, value because of who you are. He has created you with inherent value. And I appreciate that, as do many, many, many other people. You have done well, and just stay in, fight the good fight, and continue to press on, because it is a difficult field. But I want you to know that you're appreciated for doing it. And so we've got to get that message around to more people. You know, a big aspect of the ministry too are the leadership materials that we've developed. So over the past several years, we've taught some leadership materials that came from a ministry that was started by Dr. John Maxwell called Equip. And so they've taught literally in every single country of the world these leadership materials. And so we've been teaching those materials. Now we're working on developing some more leadership materials, some that go a little bit deeper, a new model of leadership that God put on my heart, that we're now creating that curriculum so we can have it for the next several years moving forward, trying to pour into healthcare workers, again, trying to give them leadership skills, trying to help them understand how to be a servant leader, which is the model that Jesus gave us, isn't it? And in the process of that, I've got a group of 9 of my former students who, I mean, I'm so proud of these guys. These are all young professionals. The oldest one is 30, and so they're all in their 20s and up to 30. And I call them the Josiah team, because Josiah, if you remember, was the young king. Right? He was king between age 8 and age 39. So he's a young king. He was wholly devoted to the Lord. I mean, he was one of the most incredible kings of all the line of kings that we can read about in the Bible. And so I've named this group the Josiah team because they're all these young professionals. Many of them are athletic trainers. We've got a nurse, we've got a physical therapist, we've got a gentleman working on his PhD in psychology. We've got some incredible young people here, and I'm so proud of them because they are with me every month, and we're going through this training. We're developing this curriculum, and then having it ready, in, I don't know, a couple of months, perhaps, just starting to get this ready so that we can use it internationally in teaching leadership within a healthcare context. So pretty excited about that. You asked about my faith and how all this works, and, inside of healthcare, inside of what I do at Ohio University. I mean, to me, the most important mission trip anybody's ever going to take is putting their feet over the edge of the bed in the morning, getting up and going to work.
Amen.
I mean, there isn't any more important mission. That's the one we go on literally every single day. And so we have to think of that as a mission trip. And so I just go ahead and, commit myself to the Lord, say, Lord, whatever you've got for me, I want to be a real person. I want to be somebody that's just natural at living out a Christian life. I don't want to be weird. I don't want to be someone that people don't feel like they can approach. I want to be someone that's just real, that's in the circumstances of life, that's walking along people, that can, encourage people, just walking along so that we can together make a difference. Sometimes I work with performing artists, as you noted. Sometimes I come across some stuff in performing arts that's like really, really rough. And when I say that, what I mean is there's a lot of things that are going on in that particular type of work that Christians would go, ooh, man, that's just, don't want any part of that. I got to tell you, it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge to work in that environment, to work with people that are struggling with identity. They're chasing after things that they shouldn't be chasing after. There's all kinds of stuff that God clearly would not be pleased with, but to still be called into that environment to try to shine light. some people call that kind of environment a secular environment. It's a secular world. It's not, because I'm there, right? If there's at least one person who belongs to Jesus, who's following him in a particular place, it can't be a secular place because God's light is in that place. And so that's what I see, is just, to the best of my ability, living in that world, working in that environment with those folks, many of whom are struggling in their lives, and they just need someone to be kind to them, to talk to them, to listen to their story. That's ministry. I mean, that's how Jesus did ministry. He got in the middle of what was going on and dealt with people where they were at.
Yep.
So I try to do that in a way that is winsome and that that honors God, that honors Jesus, that follows the way of Jesus. Because there's right ways and there's wrong ways, you know, and you can scream and yell back and forth. And I've seen this personally on our campus, group of Christians screaming the gospel at a group of gay students who are screaming back that they're not right. And it's just screaming match back and forth, which is completely counterproductive to the kingdom and to the gospel. That's not what I see is the right way to go about it. So all I know to tell you is I'm just a regular guy, and I'm following Jesus to the best of my ability. I'm trying to make a difference in the environment where he's placed me. Let people know that they've got value. And just because you're wrong in your thinking or you're not following the Bible doesn't mean you don't have value. And I think we've lost that in our society today.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't treat people like they have value, do we?
No.
So I try to treat people like they have value. I don't have to agree with them to treat them like they have value. I don't have to believe what they believe. I don't have to like what they're involved in their lifestyle choices. I don't have to like any of that. But I can sure value them because ultimately they were created by God the same as I am.
Right.
They've chosen a different way to live their life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They were created by God just like I was. And
when we start
they're a sinner just like I am.
Yeah. When we start looking at the group that we're working with, whether it be performing arts or football players or volleyball or whatever, start looking at them as humans instead of just a number. And especially when we come at them as when we portray our faith, when Christ is living in us, yeah, we need to, yeah, I agree with you completely. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I want people to see that Jeff Russell is somebody that they can talk to.
Absolutely.
And is a real person, and it isn't just downgrading them all the time, right? That someone that's trying to lift them up. And I might not bring them to Christ in 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 2 weeks or a year or 4 years, or I might never, right? But while I'm with them, I want them to know the winsomeness of what a Christian is supposed to be. I want them to know that heaven came down and was with them and spoke to them, right? And I can speak, and I do this actually quite regularly with students, is I'll speak something to them that's out of the Bible, and they might not know that it's out of the Bible, but nonetheless, it's a Bible message come from heaven delivered to them here on earth. One example, I say this a lot. I say, you know, some students get stressed about a lot of things, right? Next test that's coming up, or this is going on, or that's going on. I say, look, why worry about tomorrow when today has enough trouble of its own? And they look at me and they go, oh yeah, that's pretty good advice, Dr. Russell. Wow. I just gave them a Bible verse. They don't know it's a Bible verse, but they believe that it is good advice. And they'll try to follow that advice. Well, I just gave them a piece of biblical information. And now they can live their life. They might not be a Christian at all, but how about that? They're trying to live their life now according to a Bible verse that I just gave to them. And I have lots of examples of doing that. I think it's just part of being a winsome witness and trying to be approachable, trying to meet people where they're at and give them something of heaven, trying to speak life into them so that they have the opportunity to hear truth, because there's plenty of untruth flying around the airwaves today.
Absolutely. Before we close, what is that life verse, that foundation verse that you would say is the foundation of your life? You probably have many, a long list of it, depending on what situation you're in, but what is it? Can you kind of narrow it down to maybe one or two?
Yeah, there are many, but I have one here. It's Joshua 1:9. So let me just I've pulled out my Bible. I just want to read it to you, because I think it addresses so many things of where we are at today in our lives, and it just meets me right where I am at, and gives me what I need to go forward. So Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." I mean, that is just like, there's so much meat in there, right? There's so much for me that I need to hear, that I need to put in my life. So so I've written some books of Bible devotionals for healthcare workers. And so when I sign my name, sometimes I'll say, "Can you sign my book?" So I'll sign it and I'll put that verse in there, Joshua 1:9, because I think that no matter where you're at, whatever you're going through, as a Christian, as somebody that is trying to follow Jesus, as someone that loves God,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, be strong and courageous. Do not be dismayed. I mean, look around us, Paul. Talk about being dismayed. I mean, there is so much in our world right now to be dismayed about. But it says, be strong and courageous. Move forward. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Not some positive force, not some energy. The Lord your God, the Lord your God,
Mm-hmm.
is with you wherever you go. He's with me. He's with you. He's with everybody that's watching this, that is trying to follow Jesus and be faithful to God.
Yeah.
The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Man, that gives me comfort. I mean, it's like, oh, thank you, Lord, for being with me wherever I go. There's not a single place I can go that he's not going to be with me. Thank you, Lord. That just makes a huge difference in my life. So there's my verse. Thanks for asking.
Thank you very much. Jeff, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to highlight you and talk to you about what you're doing in the performing arts and as a Christian athletic trainer and how all that works together. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure, Paul. Thank you for asking me. And, I just hope this is an encouragement to many, many athletic trainers and other healthcare professionals that have occasion to watch. But you're doing a good work. I appreciate you. I appreciate CSMA, everything that you're trying to do around the world to lift people up and pour into them. And you're doing a good work yourself. So thank you for that.
Appreciate it. And if you would like to learn more about Christian Sports Medicine Alliance, please go to our website at christiansportsmed.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at @tweetcsma. And if you are a Christian athletic trainer, or you know a Christian athletic trainer that would like to have a place where they can go and do life and share with what God is doing in their life, kind of share their favorite verse, something that God has just really done in their life, maybe share a prayer request, and you're on Facebook or they're on Facebook, go to Beyond the ATR. It is a Facebook page specifically for athletic trainers. Well over 2,000 people are on that page doing life together on a daily basis. Again, happy National Athletic Training Month. We will see you again down the road. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Medicine with a Mission, Faith, Family, and the Profession. Thank you very much. Bye.